Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled poems. A peck of pickled poems Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled poems, where's the peck of pickled poems that Peter Piper picked? Hi, I'm Grace, and this is the Peter Piper Picked a Peck of Pickled Poems podcast, or you can just call it the Pickled Poems podcast for short if you want. I'm a kid like you, and I really love poems, and I hope you do too. Or if you don't know if you like them yet, I hope you'll at least be willing to listen to my podcast and take a chance. It's okay if you don't like pickles, but I think you should at least be willing to give poetry a try. I like silly poems and serious poems, poems that make me laugh, and poems that make me cry. Long poems that tell a story, and short poems that are kind of like jokes. Once when I was little, I got a little overwhelmed at the playground. Do you know what I did? I found a quiet corner and recited My Shadow, one of my favorite poems, by the way, to my mom. That poem helped me feel happier, and I went back to playing. Because another thing about me you should know, I love climbing really high on things, like trees and playgrounds and anywhere else. It might be kind of dangerous, but also really fun. My mom says I'm basically a monkey. I wonder, do you think monkeys like poems too? So what you can look forward to is my brand new Peter Piper Picked a Peck of Pickled Poems podcast. Every week I'll bring you a new poem to enjoy. I'll read it twice, maybe 3 times if it's super short. And that's all there is to it. You can listen every day if you want to memorize them, or just listen once if you want. There's no lessons, no homework, just another kid sharing her favorite poems with you. Make sure you're subscribed to this podcast so you don't miss a single poem, and I would love to hear what poems you enjoy. Do you have a favorite? Email me at pickledpoemspodcast@gmail.com and let me know. Maybe your favorite poem will show up on a future episode. So, to review, this is a poetry podcast by a kid for kids. Every week, I'll bring a new poem for you to enjoy, so make sure your family is subscribed to this podcast and you've told all your cousins and friends too. Email me your favorite poem and I might add it to a future podcast episode. Oh, and I should mention that this podcast is sponsored by the Homeschool Conversations with Humility and Doxology podcast, which is hosted by my mom. So if you have a parent listening, they should probably check that one out too. Until next time, go pick a peck of pickled poems for yourself.